Okay, so we know that in Islamic tradition, God sent a huge number of prophets to guide humanity over the ages. But what if I told you that 4 of them are believed to be alive right now? Today, we're diving into this absolutely fascinating belief.
I mean, that's a pretty wild thought, right? It kind of goes against everything we know about life and death. Mortality is supposed to be this universal rule, but this belief, it suggests there are some miraculous exceptions. So who are these prophets, and what are their incredible stories? Let's find out. All right, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about why this is such a huge exception. Then, we'll meet the 4 prophets one by one: Isa, Khidr, Elias, and Idris. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with the amazing lessons their stories have for us today. Okay, so first things first. To really get how special these 4 prophets are, we've got to understand the rule that they're the exception to.
Get this, Islamic tradition says that something like 124,000 prophets have been sent throughout history. Think about that for a second. That is a massive, sprawling history of divine guidance, with every single prophet bringing a message tailor-made for their people and their time.
But here's the thing. A central core belief in Islam is that this long line of prophets came to an end with Prophet Muhammad. He's known as the seal of the prophets, which means exactly what it sounds like. No new prophets are coming after him. And that is precisely why the whole idea of prophets who are still alive is so remarkable. All right, let's meet our first living prophet. And he's a big one of the most revered figures in all the Abrahamic faiths, Prophet Isa, or as you might know him, Jesus. His story isn't about death at all. It's about a divine ascension.
So let's break down what happened, step by step. It all started with a plot to crucify Prophet Isa. But right as an assassin got close, there was this incredible divine intervention. An angel swooped in and raised Isa up into the heavens, completely alive. And in this final, crazy twist, the assassin was made to look exactly like Isa, and he was the one crucified instead. So to everyone watching, it looked like the plan had actually worked.
And look, this isn't just some story passed down through the generations. This belief is rooted directly in the Quran. This verse here basically says it all. They didn't kill him, they didn't crucify him, it just appeared that way. Instead, Allah raised him to himself. It's the central piece of evidence for this belief.
Okay, so you might be asking, why was he kept alive? Well, Islamic tradition says he has one last super important mission. It's believed that he's going to return to Earth right before the Day of Judgment to defeat this major figure of evil, the Dajjal. You might know him as the Antichrist. After he brings justice to the world, he'll finally live out a normal life, pass away, and be buried in the holy city of Medina. Okay, let's move on to our second figure, the very mysterious Prophet Khidr. Now, he's known not for some big future role, but for being a constant, guiding presence for people who are in need.
Prophet Khidr's story is totally different. The tradition says that he was actually offered a whole kingdom, but he turned it down for a life of worship. And on that spiritual journey, he was guided to the legendary Ab-e-Hayat, which is, you guessed it, the fountain of life. He drank from it, and that's how he was granted this incredibly long life, all so he could continue to serve humanity.
So you see, unlike Prophet Isa, who is waiting to return, Khidr is believed to be active in the world right now. He's seen as this sort of hidden guide, popping up to help lost travelers, comforting people who are struggling, and just generally teaching folks about righteousness.
All right, on to our third living prophet, Ilyas. You might know him from the Judeo-Christian tradition as Elijah, and just like Isa, his story involves a pretty miraculous exit from the earthly world.
And the story of his ascension is just wow. It's incredible. The tradition says that Prophet Ilyas wasn't taken to the heavens by an angel, but on this magnificent steed made of pure light. I mean, what a powerful image, right? It just speaks to the incredible honor he was given.
And get this, his mission is thought to be the perfect complement to Prophet Khidr's. So, while Khidr is guiding people on land and sea, Ilyas is said to be watching over people in the mountains and the wilderness. It's even believed that the two of them meet up once a year in Jerusalem and even perform the Hajj pilgrimage together. They're like a team, sharing these sacred duties.
And that brings us to our fourth and final prophet, Idris, or Enoch. His status is completely unique among all of them. He isn't just alive, he's believed to be living in the highest station imaginable.
His journey is absolutely one of a kind. The story goes that Prophet Idris really wanted to understand divine justice on a deep level, so he made a few requests. He asked to experience death, just for a moment, then he asked to see hell, and then to see paradise.
After he'd seen all three, he entered paradise and was just so completely blown away by its beauty that he asked if he could stay, and, incredibly, God granted his wish.
This verse right here from the Quran is often pointed to as the reason for his unique status. His story is seen as the ultimate fulfillment of this promise, literally being raised to a high station by getting a permanent home in paradise. What an amazing reward for his faith.
Okay, so we've met all four prophets and we've heard their incredible stories. But what's the deeper meaning? What are we supposed to take away from this living legacy? Let's boil it down. Each story has a core lesson. From Isa, we learn that truth can never really be destroyed. From Khidr, we see that real power isn't about status, it's about piety. Ilyas' story shows us how devotion to God can literally elevate you. And Idris, his journey is the ultimate proof that righteousness is the only path to real success.
When you put it all together, these four stories share one really powerful message. They're a reminder that even though our time here on Earth is short, things like faith, goodness, and helping others, those things have an eternal impact. These prophets are basically the living, breathing embodiment of that very idea.
And that really brings us to a final thought. In a world that's so often looking for direction and meaning, the belief in these living prophets, who are still out there guiding, helping, and representing what's good, is a really powerful symbol of hope. It's a symbol of continuous divine mercy. And it leaves us with a pretty big question to ponder. What does the idea of living guidance really mean for us in our world today?